Good morning, everyone. My name is Charles Souillard, and I'm here today to talk about how Bonita BPM is helping DevOps team building and maintaining business application based on processes. So at Bonitasoft, we have always been saying that we would like to democratize BPM, and we are convinced that this goes through custom applications. So how to say that? In fact, the market trend, and I guess we've seen that through the Appian presentation right before, there is a big need to have application customized to any kind of devices. This is a market trend. Most of you guys, vendors here in the room, have shown that in the previous days. So this is not a debate anymore. Software has to adapt or die. So at Bonitasoft, we are convinced that BPM is going to play a key role in this transformation, in this digital transformation. So last year, and I'm glad to see that Appian is following the same path as us. Last year, our CEO, Miguel Valdez-Fora, was here at bpmNEXT presenting our answer to these agility needs. And this is what we call living applications. So living applications are made of three main components. The first one being business logic. We implement that based on processes. Second one, key to all our customers, business data. And last but not least, user interfaces. So we call them living because they enable on-the-fly changes. We call them live updates. They are about many different pieces of the application, such as connectors, scripts, views, whatever. And it comes with several kinds of benefits, like custom continuous improvement, feedback integration, this kind of stuff. But this is great power, but it comes with strong responsibilities because we have to make sure the quality is always here, so we have to avoid regression. So the basic answer to this is testing, of course, but it cannot be manual because it's not reproducible, it takes too long, you cannot measure, your test coverage does not scale. So at Bonitasoft, we have a rule internally. We try to not reinvent the wheel. So there is something on the market for that. It's called continuous integration, and it's already integrated in the day-to-day life on any kind of DevOps team. So this combined with APIs and testing library, is a perfect match with BPM, because we see processes such as, it's a kind of algorithm with different paths that can be tested as a whole or in a unit testing way. So this is definitely the perfect match to avoid regression and to guarantee you can have your continuous deployment always live and moving on. So in the end, continuous integration in one side, living applications in the other side. For us, this is a perfect match. This is the best way to combine on-the-fly changes and making sure quality is still at the right level. And this is what we need, what our customer need, what our DevOps team need to boost the digital transformation. So this is what we did. So we made that decision to bundle that in something easy to use, ready to use, lightweight, pre-configured. And we decided to make that on top of state-of-the-art technologies. So we built different kind of images relying on Docker technology. And we combine that Docker lightweight technology to the state-of-the-art continuous integration technology. So I'm talking about Jenkins here. And what we provide is a set of images, two kinds of images. The first one combining Docker and Jenkins, and the other one combining Docker and Bonita BPM. And it comes with three main jobs pre-configured. The first one in charge of checking out the build from a versioning system. Second one in charge of deploying project. And last one in charge of executing tests. So this way you can test main artifact of an application, built with Bonita BPM, processes, connectors, REST APIs, forms, and application pages. All that using the daily technologies used by DevOps teams such as Maven, JUnit, and Selenium for end-user interfaces testing. So what I'm going to show right now is relying on a really well-known use case for e-commerce. I'm going to introduce a regression in my application, see how continuous integration helps me detecting that I get a red light. Then I'm going to fix it and see how continuous integration becomes green again. OK, so I would like to start with an order management application. So this is our application, and this is what our CEO presented last year. This is what we call a living application. So this is completely dedicated, it's a business case. So in our case, it's managing orders. So I just logged in using Walter base. So Walter is one of our best friends in Bonita BPM organization. And this guy is really strong and powerful. He has, in this example, all the rights. So he can place an order and review them and so on. So a living application is a set of pages, user interfaces. And here, in that case, we can review different orders. So we have one who is paid. We can see the location of the order. We can access the details, and we can even act on it, like launching the preparation of the order and so on. When Walter-based is having a different hat, being the manager of this application, you can also manage the products available on the interface. You can create new product and so on. And you can also access, it's a basic one, but you can also access some kind of KPIs. So what we can do is place a new order. So this is just like when you are browsing to Amazon, you have a set of products. So we are buying something from Acme organization. You can choose some product, add them to the cart. You can pick one or two. OK. Then we can go to our cart, review it, check out. So you can fill your shipping information. So to avoid spending time on this, I can say this order is for me. It pre-fills all my information. And then it comes to the final step on confirmation of the order. So now I can place my order, and I'm done. So I can go back as Mr. Walter, a different hat managing the orders, and I can review it. So I have a third order, just appears here, and then I can, let's say, review and prepare the invoice, for example. So I have access to all details. I can set an amount on payment. I can confirm the invoice. So I'm going through the process execution here. So now it's pending for payment. I can pay the invoice, for example. I can even access the invoice that has been generated for me. So it can be exported as PDF and so on. So this is our living applications. It has been built with Bonita BPM. And what we would like to do, is take into account customer feedback and so on. So we'd like to do some changes on this application because we receive some feedback from customers. Hey, your cart is not that easy to use and so on. So let's see how it is built. So this has been built using Bonita BPM Studio. And we have a component that we have presented last year, which is also about building fully drag-and-drop style applications for end user. It is called UI Designer. And here, as you can see, you can manage different kind of user interfaces. Some are pages, application pages, forms. You can also do some layout, like this one is blue, and then you can change it to black, as we've seen just before. You can add your own custom widget, because of course we have a default library of widget, but you can have specific needs. And we also have this kind of reusable component of user interfaces that we call fragment. So we have seen, for example, the stat page right before. So this is how it looks like. It's fully drag and drop technology. You can also access kind of preview stuff. And here you can also look at how it looks like on mobile devices, different screen, if you made some kind of different configuration to make sure it's displaying correctly on any kind of device. So this is the UI designer part on how we manage and we generate user interfaces. So it's full state-of-the-art technology, Angular, JS, and so on. So we are generating that for people, just drag and drop. And we also have the process part, as you have seen from the provider perspective. In my e-commerce example, we have a different step to execute a process. So this is a process that has been designed, a quite easy one to manage an order. So what we have seen as Walter bait with my first ad, I placed an order, and then it was reviewed, and I've been able to prepare the invoice. So here you can see we can follow the flow. And this is an answer to someone from yesterday. Yes, we are doing event sub-processes. So this is one for order cancellation. So this is how it looks like. This is Bonita BPM, and all that, user interfaces, business data, the order we have seen, the processes, and so on, everything is stored in a versioning system, source control system. So in that case, this one, we have two kinds of repositories. The first one, named Order Management Repository, is where we can find all artifacts generated by the solution. So we have different things, REST API extension to build new services and provide access to data. Of course, any web element, connectivity, business data model, attachment, forms, KPIs, and of course, diagrams. So everything is stored here. And we have a second one, we will see that a bit later in details, which is the testing related code. So this is gonna be used by the continuous integration later. So now it comes to doing some mistakes to see how this tooling is helping me, answering the very important need of end users being able to do on-the-fly changes the safe way, making sure the quality is still here. So what I'm gonna do, we are also having that pattern where we have a kind of MVC. So we have the business logic one side, business data, and user interfaces, and we are making sure all those layers are having good relationship together by having a concept that we call contract in the middle. So there is a kind of contract between those layers to make sure they are exchanging the right information. So let's just take an example. We can select the pay invoice step, which is requiring nothing in that simple example. And we can say now, to be able to execute that step, user interface will have to provide a new information to be executed. Let's call it something we can easily find in the log, like my mistake. I can save it. I'm gonna push that changes to my local repository with a simple comment. Whoops, sorry. Okay, so I'm breaking the build on purpose in that case. So all that is running, all the runtime part are running on Docker images, as I explained. So it's just for your information. We can see them. We have two Docker images, the one I presented in the slide, one with Bonita BPM and one with a continuous integration. So let's switch to the Jenkins. We have a continuous integration running in one of those two Docker images. And this Jenkins is configured by default to look at my source code repository. And as you have seen, it has automatically started the job build repository. Some code changes has been detected in the source code base. So it has triggered the build repository job, which is in charge of checking out the code. It's gonna use what we call the workspace API, which is something native in the product that helps you grabbing and building the code from our workspace. And then automatically it's gonna move to the deploy so that Docker images are updated with the recent changes. And in the end, we have the job called test processes that is going to be executed. And this one is gonna show that we have a mistake. So how does that work? We have some test scenarios written. So in our case, we have a simple test called order integration test. So it's fully Maven, JUnit, as we have seen. So in my situation, we have written two tests, one for testing order consolidation pass, and the other one for the order API pass. So this one has a quick description. Is creating an order process instance, providing the required parameters, and then it's executing the step, review order, and prepare invoice. And here, we execute the pay invoice. So it's quite a technical code to be written by developers. Here we can see that no parameters are provided to execute that step. And what I just did in my Bonita BPM studio a few minutes ago was to say, please give me something when you try to execute that step. It's called my mistake. So this is what we are going to see right now in the build. So the build repository job is close to be finished. It's going to move to deploy test. So I would like to spend a few minutes. Oh. No, so this one is not working. I'm going to reschedule it. So a few minutes to talk about advantages of continuous integration. So you all know that it's a strong enabler of collaboration. So in the project our customers are doing on a daily basis, it's really key having several people working at the same time on the project. So we enable that in what is requesting most of the time during development phases. So most of the time is spent building user interfaces. So our UI designer, is fully collaborative. You can have people executing building forms at the same time, pages all at the same time. And continuous integration is one of the key piece of central piece of these usage scenarios because it has to provide capabilities to reuse the same code base. So most of you guys know that. So now it comes to finding new ideas waiting for the build. I can switch. I've been asked by the organization team to record a video for the fix part of it. So if maybe I can switch to this one in case it does not work. Let me check. I have a backup, so this is what happened. Let me move forward. What we are supposed to see. Okay, so build repository is going. Then we have the deploy test one, which is ending. And then the test processes one. Just wait for this to end. So the test processes one is going to fail, and then we are going to look at the logs and see what is going on. So here you see there is a failure. So we can check where the failure comes from, but looking at the console output, so we can see we have a failure here, and it comes from a contract violation. And it is because we had an expected input called my mistake, and it is missing. So once that's done, and to save time, then we can fix it. So how do we do that? So it's quite easy. We go back to the pay invoice, and we remove this expected input to get back to the normal situation, what was expected. We save, we commit back to the source code repository. So with a comment. And then the continuous integration is going to be triggered again. So this is all automatic. It's asking the repository, is checking the repository for changes every 20 seconds. So the build repository is accelerated for you to save time today. And then the deploy test using the workspace API deploying everything on Docker images is triggered. And then the test processes one is executed, and we'll see that it's back to, I would say green, but the default Jenkins color is blue. So that's it. Thank you very much.